Okay, let's dive into something we have all been there for. You're driving down a road you take every single day, and suddenly it looks like a war zone. The asphalt's gone, it's all rough and grooved, there are cones everywhere, and then just nothing. For days, maybe even weeks, the road just sits there, this bumpy, annoying reminder of a project that looks like it was completely forgotten. It is one of modern life's biggest and most common frustrations, right? It makes you sit there in your car and wonder, what is actually going on here? Is this just terrible planning? Is everyone just super inefficient? Or is there something else happening that we just can't see? And when there's no good explanation, our brains start filling in the blanks with theories just like this one. And it sounds kind of plausible. It's this compelling story about contractors gaming the system or just wasting our tax money. Because, let's be honest, what other reason could there possibly be for a project that just stops? But while that whole paycheck theory is definitely a popular one, the real story is, well, it's way more complex and frankly a lot more fascinating. It involves highly specialized teams, massive logistical puzzles, and a whole hidden world right underneath our tires. So here's the first big reveal, and it's absolutely crucial. Repaving a road is not one single job done by one crew. You can't just have a single team show up with all their gear and do the whole thing from start to finish. Nope, it's a multi-stage operation. That ripping up part is actually called milling, and it's done by a specialized demolition crew with these enormous grinding machines. They can tear up miles of road incredibly fast. But the paving crew, that's a completely separate team. They've got different skills, different equipment, like pavers and rollers. And here's the real kicker. Paving is super sensitive to the weather. You can't do it if it's raining or too cold. Milling, on the other hand, they can do that in pretty much any condition. And this is where the scheduling just becomes an absolute house of cards. A city or a contractor is trying to juggle dozens of these projects all at once. So a single rainy day doesn't just delay one job, it throws the entire paving schedule for the whole region into chaos. A big milling machine might be rented for a specific time and has to move to the next site on the list. An inspector might be tied up somewhere else. Any one of these little hiccups creates a gap, and that gap just cascades down the line, delaying everything. But believe it or not, scheduling is really just the tip of the iceberg. The biggest, most common reason for that long, frustrating pause between ripping and repaving is something most of us never, ever see. Because that waiting period, it's not waiting at all. Tearing up that old asphalt creates this incredibly rare and valuable window of opportunity. For the first time in maybe decades, there's direct access to the unbelievably complex web of infrastructure that keeps our cities alive. Just think for a second about what is crammed underneath a typical city street. You've got your wet utilities. That's things like water mains, sewer lines, gas pipes. Then you have your dry utilities, your power lines, fiber optic cables, telephone lines. It is a tangled, often ancient spaghetti of absolutely vital systems. So when that road is open, it's like sending out a bat signal to every utility company in the city, the water department, the gas company, the cable provider. It's their one chance to get in there. They can inspect for leaks, make critical repairs, or run brand new lines without having to come back 6 months later and dig a giant hole in a perfectly new road, which, as we've all seen, makes everybody furious. So you might be wondering, how on earth do engineers even begin to manage this underground chaos? You can't just start digging, right? Well, there's a formal science to it, a whole branch of engineering dedicated to figuring out what lies beneath before you ever break ground. It's called subsurface utility engineering, or SU for short. Its entire job is to manage the huge risks of working around all this invisible infrastructure. It's basically detective work to create a reliable map of what's actually down there, not just what's on some dusty old blueprint from 1952. And these SU professionals have a ranking system. It starts at level D, which is basically just looking at old paper records. It's a starting point. Then you move up all the way to level A. That's the gold standard. It's called daylighting, and it means they physically dig a small hole to expose the pipe or cable so they can see its exact location and condition with their own 2 eyes. It is the only way to be 100% sure before the heavy equipment rolls in. And all of this careful engineering work is what leads to those cryptic spray-painted markings you see all over the street before a project starts. This isn't just random graffiti, it's a universal language. Red is for electric lines. Yellow means gas, oil, or steam. Blue is drinking water. Once you know the code, you can literally read the street like a map of the hidden city right below your feet. Okay, so we've got specialized crews, we've got complicated schedules, and we have a whole world of underground utilities.
Now, let's bring all these pieces together and see how the business side of roadwork adds yet another layer of, well, organized chaos to the whole mix.
Most public projects like this are awarded to the lowest bidder. That contractor then has to manage all their resources, their crews, their expensive equipment, across a bunch of different jobs just to stay profitable. Now, a lot of these contracts have huge late penalty fees. So if a contractor is falling behind on a major highway project that has an $80,000 a day penalty, and your little neighborhood street only has a $500 a day penalty, well, guess where the paving crew's going first?
One commenter on Reddit honestly summed up this whole scheduling conflict better than anyone with this absolutely brilliant parody. It's hilarious, but it perfectly captures that tension between the milling crew, who just finished their job on time, and the paving crew, who just got pulled to another higher priority site and might not be back for 2 more weeks. So that ripped up road, it isn't just an abandoned construction site. It's a logistical puzzle. It's a window into a hidden world of critical infrastructure. And it's a reflection of some really complex business decisions. It's the visible part of an enormous, invisible process. The delay is definitely frustrating, no doubt about it, but it's often a sign that 100 different things are being carefully, if very slowly, coordinated to keep our entire city alive.